What's up, everybody? This is Coach Jason coming to you live inside the rack. In this video, I'm going to go over the warm-up protocol that I use every single workout that I do. This is the exact same warm-up protocol that I prescribe all of my lifters to use. Also, if you're an older individual or you're extremely overweight, you can use this warm-up protocol as a full body workout routine. So without further delay, let's go inside the rack. So for all of these exercises, I'm going to use a band or a pair of 3-pound pink dumbbells. Either one works. I prefer the bands because on a band, as you pull on it, the tension gets greater. So as the muscle gets fully contracted, the tension increases. So I like it better for warm-ups. So the first one, we're just going to stand on the band. We're going to do an overhead press. So the key to this is make sure that your elbow and your wrist are in a straight line. And then we're just going to do overhead presses. We're shooting for a total of 50 to 100 reps. Some of them we might only get 30 when we start out, but that is our goal. I'm not going to show you all them reps to try to keep this video as short as possible. So if we're going to do this with a dumbbell, same thing. Wrists and elbows stacked, and we're just going to do overhead presses. I'm not worried about full range of motion on these since they're just warm-ups. The goal of the warm-up is just to pump synovial fluid into the joints and blood into the muscles. We're just trying to get loose so we don't get injured. The next exercise we're going to go into is a front raise. So if we're still standing on the band from our overhead press, we're going to bring our arms out in front of us, raise them up overhead, and then pull them apart. So it's going to look like this. These I'll usually do around 12 reps because we've already got the shoulders pretty loose, but this helps hit all 3 heads of the deltoid, and it also helps loosen up the upper traps. Now if you're going to use dumbbells on this one, doing the pull apart really doesn't do you any good. So you're just going to do a front raise. We're not going to go all the way up. We want to keep tension on the muscle the whole time. Once again, shooting for between 50 and 100 reps. The next exercise I like to go into is just a bicep curl. Now I usually like wrapping the band around something low. You can wrap it around a doorknob if that's all you have. And the same thing, we're going to hit 50 to 100 reps with both arms. If you're using a dumbbell or the band, we want to do this like a hammer curl. So instead of having our palms flat, we're going to hold the dumbbells or the band like a hammer and do hammer curls. Once again, I'm not concerned about full range of motion. We're just trying to get blood and synovial fluid where they need to be. The next thing I like to do is a tricep push down. Once again, I prefer the bands. The nice thing about the band is I can pull the band apart, so it will go around my body, which allows me to get my arm behind my body, which is a full contraction for the tricep. If you stop short right here, you're not getting a full contraction. So if you can get your arms back behind your body, it's better to get a full contraction, not only to pump blood into the tricep, but to loosen up the elbow. Now if you're going to use dumbbells for these, we're going to do a tricep kickback. So you're going to lean forward, you want your torso at about a 45-degree angle, lower back flat. And then we're just going to tuck our elbows, so our elbow is behind the midline of our body. See how my elbow is behind my body? And then we're going to do kickbacks. So my elbow is going to stay fixed in that position. The only thing that's moving is the lower portion of my arm. You can do 2 at a time if you want. Doesn't really matter. The last upper body exercise that I like to do is just a pull apart. This was in my self-assessment fix video, so some of you may have already seen this. You're gonna grip it a little bit narrower than shoulder width apart, pull it apart. We're focusing on squeezing our shoulder blades together in the back. Now this one, you're probably not gonna get to 50 reps. I usually do about 15 or 20. Then another back exercise we're gonna do is a row. So we're gonna throw it around a post or whatever we can. Like the tricep kickback, the key on this is to make sure the elbow gets behind the body. Another key on this, don't focus on pulling it with your arm. Focus on your elbow moving behind your body. Your hand is just a hook. If you pull with your hands, your forearms are going to do most of the work. So we want to focus on the elbow and just using our hands as hooks, squeezing our shoulder blades together in the back, getting some blood in our lats. This is really good if you got deadlifts or squats that day, or bench, because it raises you up in the bench press. Now it doesn't matter what workout I'm doing, squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, it doesn't matter what my main lift is. I'm doing all of these exercises every single workout. Now if you're using the dumbbell version, same thing. We're going to go to a 45-degree angle, chest up, back flat, and we're just going to do a row. Make sure the elbows get behind the body. Same thing, we're shooting for 50 to 100 reps. Now that's it for the upper body exercises. For the lower body, I like to use a hip circle. This is Mark Bell's hip circle. They sell all kinds of different versions on Amazon. Doesn't really matter which one you get. So it's going to go above the knees. You can see it's above my kneecaps, and I'm just going to do step outs. So I'll do like 12, 12, 10, 10, 8, 6, 5. Once I get down to 4 or 5 and my sides of my hips are just on fire, then I know I'm warm. Now if you don't have a hip circle, or you don't want to get a hip circle, another option, we can take that band again, stand in the band, hold it overhead, and just do step outs like that. If you need less resistance, you hold the band lower. More resistance, you can hold the band higher. Another option, we can take the band, double it over, step through it. So we're going to put our feet through each side, pull it up above the knees, and same thing, we're going to do our step outs like that. Now the next lower body exercise I like to do, I'll keep the hip circle on for this. You can do it without. It's really personal preference. And I'm just going to do a goblet squat. So I got it on again above my kneecaps. Here's my kneecaps. Here's the sleeve. Now the purpose of keeping the hip circle on is it forces you to push your knees out over your toes. Proper squat form. But typically I'll just do about 15 or 20. See how my hips are feeling that day. See if there's any other issues I need to address. So for the last lower body exercise, we're going to warm up the glutes and hamstrings. So I take a heavy band, throw it around a post, face away from it, and then you're going to grab it in your hands. So it's going to look like this. I got the one band on each side. You're going to walk away from it to put some tension on the band. Let the band pull you backwards. You should feel a good stretch on your hamstrings when you do this. And then you're going to squeeze your glutes to extend your hips. Stretch the hamstrings, squeeze the glutes. So from a front angle, it's going to look like this. The band pulls me back. That stretches my hamstrings right here. And then I'm going to squeeze my glutes to pull through. Now if you don't have a band, the little pink dumbbells probably are not going to be heavier enough for this. So I got a gallon of water. You can use a heavier dumbbell if you want, but you're basically just going to do a goblet deadlift. So I'm gonna let it hang in front of me. Let's set my hips back, feel a good stretch in the hamstrings, and then squeeze the glutes. Now that's the basic warm-up I go through every single workout. Now this is just a base for the warm-up. We'll build upon this base if you have any other issues that need to be addressed. For myself personally, I have issues with my left hip and my right shoulder, so I need to include additional exercises and stretches in my warm-up. Now in the next video, I'm going to cover some basic issues that people commonly find while doing their warm-up and how to address those issues. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. YouTube thinks you should check out this video next. Until next time, this is Coach Jason coming to you live inside the rack.